It's a pleasure to have you here on News Desk. We are live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 144 around the world at myjoyonline.com, and we are free to air as well. Now, let's start off on a very disturbing note. A toddler is believed to have drowned at Sawaba near the affordable housing estate in Kumasi after Wednesday night's heavy downpour. The child was traveling with the mother on a tricycle, popularly known as Pragia, when they got stuck in floodwaters. In an attempt to continue the journey on foot, the child was swept away by the floods. Nanaya Ojima has more in the following report.
Tricycle rider Ahmed Mohammed says his tricycle got stuck in the flood with 5 people on board, including the child. The passengers attempted making the journey on foot despite the heavy current of the floodwaters.
The water current was sending the tricycle to a different direction, so I pulled the handbrake. They were afraid, so they were shouting. They all got down immediately I stopped. That was when they fell into the water. By the help of others, we pulled the woman, but couldn't get the child.
It's been about 4 hours of heavy downpour here in the Ashanti region. Despite the incident which happened not long ago, many other vehicles are making attempts to cross the flooded water. The bridge over River Riri, linking Sawaba, is partly caved in, resulting in perennial floods. Residents say the bridge has become a death trap, especially in the rainy season.
If they fix the bridge, such incidents will not happen. They keep filling the broken part with stones. The bridge should be widened so the water can flow. This incident happened annually.
For JoyNews, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
So this happened last night. Nanaya Ojima joins us with an update this morning. Nanaya, has this child been found?
No, the information we have so far is that a search party has been set out to find this boy, which we believe have gone missing following the flood. So they are still there's a search party now searching for the boy to try and see if the people can find him alive.
Nanaya, how old is this boy, and have we heard anything from his mother who was traveling with him when this incident occurred?
Now, from the people who actually got in touch with the mother, or from the people who saw the incident unfold, according to the mother, the son is about 2 years. But so far, we've not been able to have the mother herself to speak to. The time we got there yesterday, she had been taken away from the place because according to the people there, the woman was in so much pain after what happened in the incident. So she had been taken from the place to safety. But the information that we are getting from family is that the family is very worried, and people are now out there trying to find the child.
Nanaya, describe the area to us. Some of the people you spoke to in the report we saw a while ago mentioned a particular bridge. What exactly is wrong with it?
So actually, there's this bridge which connects Sawaba to this area, ACCRA area. We call the place Affordable Housing Estate here in Kumasi. That's where the 248 is the second affordable housing estate is located in Kumasi. Now, this bridge is partly caved in. Almost half of the bridge has been broken and it's caved in. And this place has been filled with stones, which sometimes are washed away whenever it rains. So it's been a major cause of flood here at Sawaba area and its environs. As we know, the ACCRA area has witnessed a number of floods in recent times. Now, not about last year, there was another incident where about
Too bad. It appears we've lost Nana Yaujima there. He was just describing the area where this incident occurred to us, and the nature of the bridge, residents claim, is the cause of the flooding in the area. Hopefully we can get him back on the line and get more details on this unfortunate incident which occurred last night in Kumasi. I was also going to find out about the weather situation in Kumasi, because we understand that it's been raining for quite some time now, every day. We're just going to get a quick update on that. Hopefully we can raise Nana Yaujima on the line again. Unfortunately, we're not able to do so now. If we are able to do so, we will bring you more on this rather disturbing story. Let's head to Parliament now. The majority has dismissed demands by the minority for a revetting of 4 deputy ministers who've been approved by the House. The NDC MPs staged a walkout on Wednesday as Parliament approved the 4, including Asunaba Dapa and Ejay Mensah Kosa. The minority says it cannot be part of the approval of nominees it did not vet, because at the time, minority MPs were in their constituencies planting trees on June 11, following the Speaker's directive. Tamale North MP Al-Hassan Suhini says the chairman of the Appointments Committee disrespected the Speaker and wants Speaker Alban Gbagbo to order a revetting.
In view of the circumstances, we do not have any opportunity to even examine the nominees. It is not the problem of the nominees that we did not get the opportunity to examine them. So even staying and voting against them may amount to being unfair to them. It is not their fault that we did not have the opportunity to vet them. It's the fault of the chairman of the committee, led or supported by the majority side. And we think that they need to understand that that is not what Ghanaians expect of us. They need to change their approach, and they need to make it possible for us to meet them halfway so that government business can smoothly run. The Speaker requested our leadership to raise that on the floor of the House for consideration. And if you notice today, due to other equally important schedules, the leadership of our side, especially on the Appointments Committee, could not be present. The Speaker himself could not be present, but the motion had to be moved and taken. And perhaps that is why I am unable to speak to what the Speaker intended to do when he requested our leadership to raise the matter on the floor. I believe that the dynamics could have been different if the Speaker was chairing, that is Speaker Bagbin was chairing, and our leaders on the Appointments Committee were on the floor. The dynamics could have been different, but the import would have been the same, to boycott and not to be part of the approval of the 4 nominees.
Well, NPP MP Samuel Atachia says the revetting will not happen. He says minority MPs did not take their jobs seriously.
It is very important for you to understand the Appointment Committee of the Parliament of Ghana has a program and a schedule which predated the event of greening Ghana on the 11th of this month. So therefore, every serious-minded member of the committee will be bound by the program which predated the program. And what we're going to do will take precedence over any other thing. That is very, very fundamental. You should bear in mind that a member of parliament could also delegate maybe the chairman of the constituency that stand in my stead and do the planting, because there is an assignment anteceding what we are doing now in parliament. So therefore, if you elected and you were derelict in your duties to parliament, and you didn't sit to vet the nominees of the president, it will be in utter bad faith for you to say that by reason of the tree planting and my inability to come and do the parliamentary duty, the whole program of the committee should be cancelled. We don't run parliament at the whims and caprices of your convenience.
Well, the NDC MPs had demanded another session to vet the nominees because, like you just heard, they were in their constituencies as part of the national tree planting exercise on June 11 during the vetting of the four. The four were, however, approved by the majority side after chairman of the Appointments Committee, Joseph Osei-Owusu, presented the committee's report.
I will seek your leave for Hansard to capture the entire report as though same was read by me in extension. Mr. Speaker, in all we have 4 nominees for consideration by this House.
So you heard that the Deputy Majority Leader speaking on the floor of Parliament. Well, the walkout by the minority was led by James Aveji, who is a Deputy Minority Leader. Let's get more on this from Parliamentary Correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gakpo. At the news conferences.
So both sides have repeatedly held very different positions on this. For those on the NDC side, there was a lot of disrespect that was shown the Speaker, Alban Bagbin. And for the NPP side, the NDC side did not do what was expected of them as members of Parliament. The interesting bit is that in the course of this entire conversation, Speaker Alban Bagbin was not in the seat himself. Second Deputy Speaker, Mr. Esiama, was rather the one who presided over sitting and oversaw the back and forth. The first Deputy Speaker, Joseph Osei-Owusu, is also the chairman of the Appointment Committee, delivering his report, and all of that unfolded in the absence of Speaker Alban Bagbin himself. We're waiting to see what Speaker Bagbin will say about all of this when he takes his seat today, even as we await for sitting to begin. But one additional information we got was that the minority side had raised these concerns with the Speaker that they were not part of the vetting process. They felt that his directive had been disrespected. And from what we are told, the Speaker insisted that it's an issue that should be dealt with on the floor of the House itself when the report was being approved, which was why the minority felt once the Speaker was not present to deal with the matter himself, well, then he needed to then, the leadership on that side needed to leave the MPs so they walk out, so they are not part of the approval process.
Joseph, tell us if this has ever happened in recent times when a side of the committee demands revetting and it's granted.
None that I've seen in recent times when it comes to revetting of MPs or even people for various deputy ministerial or even ministerial positions. The closest we've ever gotten to that was one of the instances that involved the vetting of one of the 2 deputy ministers for foreign affairs just about 3 weeks ago. And in that case, the committee had finished the vetting and discharged him. And just when he stepped out of the room, the minority side indicated that they felt that the committee did not have a quorum to allow for the vetting. So then they insisted that the vetting had to rehappen again. So he was brought back to take his seat. And then the earlier vetting, mainly by the majority side, lasted for just about 17 minutes. And the subsequent one lasted for about an hour. But that was a revetting that happened just minutes after the first one had actually taken place. But a case of approval being given at the level of the committee, approval being given in the House, and then a request for a revetting, that's something that hasn't happened recently. And if you look at the standing orders, what has to happen if that request should ever be granted is that the House would have to go ahead, first of all, and rescind the approval that was given yesterday. Although it was done by just the majority side, it's still Parliament that took the decision. And then after a motion of rescission has been approved in the House, then they can then go ahead and say, we are going ahead with the revetting and the laying of a new report to then allow for a reapproval of the said 4 ministers.
Joseph, yesterday was quite a busy day in Parliament. Apart from the walkout by the minority and what we've just spoken about, there was also the appearance of the National Security Minister, Mr. Albert Kandapah. Just brief us on what exactly transpired when he appeared before the House.
He came to Parliament to respond to a question from Roxy Nafiamakwa, the South MP, on what happened with this Ethiopia Yinsu Parado, who was the Ashanti Regional Security Liaison Officer, and how come he was actually removed from office. And the National Security Minister explained that he had a 2-year contract that was supposed to expire in December 2022, but the National Security Coordinator along the line decided to cancel his contract. And letters had been written to him asking him to vacate the position because his contract had actually been cancelled. But Mr. Oparado refused to then obey the said directive to exit office, and so a team of security operatives were sent from Accra to Kumasi to go amicably get him to step out of office. And if he refused, go ahead and lock up the doors and get him out of the office. And for the National Security Minister, Albert Kandapah, that's exactly what the men who moved from the national headquarters went to do. He responded to claims that Mr. Yenso Parado had allegedly been assaulted, because he made that point in his interview on Joy FM some days ago, speaking of Mr. Yenso Parado. But the National Security Minister says no formal complaint has since come to him with regards to the said claim of assault, and that if it ever gets to him, he will go ahead and investigate that particular issue. Interesting.
So he was able to give what happened in terms of the account from the side of what Mr. DCOP Opare Ado did, and not what the operatives who went there to take him out of office did.
He explained that the operatives, first of all, asked him to leave the office because then his tenure was over. He was hostile to them, according to the National Security Minister. And according to Mr. Kandapah, DCOP Parado, at a point in time, pulled out his sidearm on the men who had actually gone in there. And eventually then they had to get him out. So he gave that separate account of what the men did, but he went on to make the point that there were possibly other options to use in getting him out, but at that moment they felt that that was actually the best way around it. And to quote Mr. Albert Kandapah, if the opportunity arises and a similar situation recurs, they would go ahead and act the same way they acted the last time.
And finally, on what transpired yesterday, there was the LGBTQI issue, and quite a debate about it. Share with us.
Essentially, there had been a petition from political activists to Speaker Alban Bagbin asking him to go ahead and guide the House to enact laws to restrict the activities of the groups that are promoting LGBTQ. And Mr. Bagbin responded with a very straight to the point letter indicating that those processes have begun, the necessary consultations are ongoing in Parliament to allow for the enacting of this particular law that will restrict the activities of groups that are promoting LGBTQ. Because in the words of Mr. Bagbin, the letter that he wrote to the political activists, this is something that will negatively impact Ghana society, and Parliament is taking the processes very seriously.
Parliamentary correspondent Joseph Abukugapo there giving us basically a wrap of what transpired in Parliament yesterday, starting from that walkout by the minority demanding a reverting of some 4 deputy ministers designate who were eventually approved by the House, and then he gave us an update of the appearance of the National Security Minister Albert Kandapah, and lastly the Speaker's comment on LGBTQI activities in Ghana. Away from Parliament, over 20 students of the ACCRA Academy are devastated after they lost all their belongings in a fire that ravaged their dormitory. The fire, which began at around 7:30 p.m. Wednesday night, is said to have started from the ironing room. The Ghana Fire Service, which was at the scene to put out the flames, told JoyNews its investigations will soon unravel the cause of the fire. My colleague Judith Awachitando was at the scene and reports.
So I'm standing here at the ACCRA Academy Senior High School, where a dormitory block has been burning for over 30 minutes now. Authorities here say that the fire started in the ironing room of the block and further spread to the rest of the dormitory, burning to ashes most of the property of students here. Luckily, no student was harmed in the incident.
Belongings of students, including their trunks, chalk boxes, beds and other valuables, which may include money, were totally destroyed in the fire. JoyNews understands there has been no casualty or injury because the fire started at the time students were at prep. PRO of the fire service, Ellis Robinson Oko, gave this account.
Around 1946 hours, we had a distress call that there was a fire outbreak at ACCRA Academy School. And when we got here, we realized 5 of the dormitories are on fire. As I speak to you now, we have been able to bring the fire under control. There are little pockets of fire that we want to extinguish totally before we leave here. We had to engage 3 of our fire engines to ensure that we bring the fire under control. And that's exactly what we have done here. No, we don't have the cause of fire now. Yes, so let us investigate and then get the cause of the fire. We have been able to protect 2 of the rooms that are safe with the turns inside, but then 5 of the rooms are burnt totally.
For now, it is unclear how students spent the night and what plans school authorities may have to help them recover. Judith Awachitando, JoyNews.
Away from that, daylight robbery is increasingly becoming an albatross around the country's neck as armed robbers easily make away with their booty before the police arrive. Fortunately, some graduates of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology have designed a smart panic button, which is a device used to increase the response time of the police and leave evidence for investigation. On Tech Thursday today, Love FM's Chrissy Deborah speaks with Stephen Boache Frimpong and Jesse Enim of the startup Tech Deviceal Limited.
His mind will change.
So I'm Jesse Enim, the head of IT in Tech Deviceal Limited.
So I'm Stephen Boache Frimpong, the CEO of Tech Deviceal Limited. Tech Deviceal is actually a group of students that is graduates and undergraduates from the KNUST. So we are behind a lot of technological solutions keyed at solving our key problems. So just like this invention, which is directed to the increasing daylight robberies in the country. So we needed to come up with an invention that at least counters that and then increases the response time of the security personnel to curb the problem and then make available evidence whenever there is such scenes. This reduces the crime rate and then make it very difficult for people to get robbed, especially on the daylight.
So what the device does is it has been linked to the police service. So anytime you have an issue, all you have to do is to hit on the button. So the button also has a camera inbuilt, which records a live feed of whatever happens and then stores it in the cloud for future evidence. We have the device, okay, there's a camera here, and then there's a button here. So the device, this is assuming this is the police device, okay, and you are in trouble. All you need to do is to hit this button here once, okay. Then what it's going to do is it's going to send SMS to your phone, and then after that, it's going to call your phone. You can see the SMS here. Yeah, emergency at Sawa Bow Stop, okay. Then this is the address, okay. Then it will call the phone. So we are assuming this is the police phone, okay. So it will call the police. Also, it's going to send an email to the cloud, okay, so that you can have video evidence of what it will be taken by the Raspberry Pi, by the camera, sorry.
When the police received the mail, as you can see, this is my colleague here. So it takes a picture and a video of the scene and drops it in the cloud. So this message like this is on the police's phone, and you can, if you are a robber and you are at the scene, you can never get access to this. Meanwhile, your picture and details have been taken by the device and dropped over here. So it seems to work like taking a video of a robber and then quickly forwarding it to the police or what have you on real-time basis without the robber getting the chance to destroy your phone first before you send the mail. What makes this device special and important is the fact that many a times when people are under attack, the best thing the person could do is to pick up a phone and call the police. And at those situations, doing that will draw the attention of the robbers or what have you. So this device, what it does is it makes it possible for you to push one button and report to the police without talking or mentioning anything. And when the button is pushed, no one sees that any button has been pushed. It's just quiet. So the device is able to call the police wherever they are and then inform them of the robbery at this building, and then it gives them the Ghana GPS location of the place so that they can arrive to the scene on time and then avert the situation. Let's say in a case where the police come and the robbers might have gone already. Yes, so the device stores a video footage of the scene and then images and stores it in the cloud. When we talk of a cloud, it means even if the device is destroyed at the scene, the police will still have access to the information because it has been stored over the internet and they receive it in their systems over the internet wherever they are. Taking, for example, this incident that happened in Accra concerning the Forex Bureau robbery, the manager and everybody could have, like, let's say 20 buttons populated at vantage points at the place. So whenever there is such incident, anyone that has access to the button can just push it and then it reports to the police on real-time basis so that they can avert the situation. Given a situation when there is a moving car, let's say comparing the incident of the bullion vans, when the button is pushed, it gives the police a live location of the place so that they can track it just like the Uber map to come to the scene on time. And even if they are not able to get there are cameras in the car and outside the car that record the scene and then drop in the same cloud so that there will be concrete evidence.
That's Love FM's Kwesi Deborah with that report. Now, former Power Minister Dr. Kwabena Donkor has called the bluff of Attorney General Godfred Dame to investigate him for his alleged role in a power purchase agreement with the energy company GPGC. The state is paying a $170 million judgment debt as a result of the cancellation of the agreement with the company. The judge in the London arbitration also ruled that the basis of the decision to terminate the agreement did not reflect the true facts. Speaking on Upfront with Winston Amwa, Dr. Donkor says he's ready to face investigative bodies over the contract he entered into with GPGC.
As the chief legal officer of the country, he has a right to cause for investigation.
Are you prepared to cooperate?
Do I have an option? I'm a law-abiding Ghanaian. If the CID says they want to investigate something, what do I have to hide?
You don't think it's political witch hunting?
You are saying it. I haven't said it.
I'm asking you whether you think
I haven't said it.
I'm asking whether you think that is.
I haven't said that. You asked the question. I said I will go to the CID. This is not the first time I've been called to the CID. You remember the famous Ameri. There are others. You CID, you have been through all of them. When you have a clear conscience, when you act in the national interest, why not? Anybody has a right to say they are investigating. I have my documents. I went to cabinet. If the whole cabinet was wrong, fine. I came to parliament. If the whole parliament was wrong, fine. I'm not a lawyer. I didn't draft the agreement. The agreements are drafted by the legal officers of the ministry under the supervision of the Attorney General's office. The Attorney General's office was involved. So if you say the draft was wrong, am I a lawyer? Do I understand legalese?
Tell me.
I'm not a lawyer.
Well, the full interview will be aired on Upfront at 6 p.m. here on the JoyNews channel with Winston Amwa. Don't miss it. Now to a Clean Ghana campaign. Swarm of flies and open drains with pungent smell from animal excreta are some of the scenes that welcomed environmental officers from the Accra Metropolitan Assembly and they visited the only functioning slaughterhouse at Aveno here in Accra. The abattoir is said to have been operating for over 2 decades under increasingly deteriorating conditions. All efforts by the AMA to get it renovated to meet acceptable hygienic and sanitary standards have proven futile. The facility, which slaughters about 300 cattle daily, has been the focus of this week's JoyNews Clean Ghana campaign. Manuel Cranting reports. Viewer discretion is advised.
The Joy Clean Ghana team made a first stop at the almost open-air slaughterhouse within the Aveno electoral area. In the past year alone, at least 3 visits have been made to this same slaughterhouse with a caution for its operators to ensure adherence to sanitation standards. But like the mouse when the cat is away, the departure of the officials also means the return to flouting the regulations. Florence Kuchi is Director of Public Health at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly.
We've been here, my officers have been here, I have been here. So what we are going to do, after this, we will give you a notice and then we will go to court and plead that God should help us close down this place. Then the one-man company, you make it, because this is a place you make your living. It's a place you get everything that you want. A day, please, how many animals do you start?
Oh, we kill like maybe 300 cows a day.
300 cows?
Yes.
The team was greeted by open drains which had been choked by excreta from the intestines of the slaughtered animals. As flies besieged us in the yard, the pungent smell from the gutters at the abattoir was also in a strong contest for our attention. But that was before the orders came.
As we are standing here, we are commanding all of them right now. They should go and get brooms and start cleaning all the cobwebs. They should start right now. Please, go and get brooms and start cleaning the cobwebs right now.
Mahmoud.
Please, go get brooms.
Clear all the meat out. Everybody, get the boys all in. We want to see this place clean before. Everybody.
Every 3 months.
No. I'm not saying every 3 months. Get the meat out. Can you stop that thing and listen to what I'm telling you?
And as the workers began cleaning the premises, there were calls for the place to be closed down altogether. But owner of the abattoir, Alhaji Mahmoud, pleaded for mercy, promising to ensure immediate action.
Yes, right now it's not here, so I'll plead with you. So I'll come to the office and come and see you, so that I'll bring all the boys there.
Because anytime you said we come here for them to screen, they always keep running away. And when a summons is given, because you cannot come here, they will threaten you.
I am pleading with you, so that I will come and see you with my boys.
Head of Environmental Health Unit at the AMA, Joseph Asitanga, explains why a notice of abatement is being issued instead of the closure.
We have come to meet them here. If we say they shouldn't be here, means that they'll be slaughtering on the roadside. Elsewhere, a lot of it will happen by the roadside. That means that would give a lot of work and a serious challenge to the assembly to go around to arrest them slaughtering elsewhere. That is the word we say, slaughtering elsewhere.
But Alhaji Mahmoud called for government support to be able to rebuild the place which kills cattle sold as beef in most parts of Accra. In all, the team visited 4 different sites, closing down 1 public toilet in the process. For JoyNews, Manuel Cranting.
From Accra to the Ashanti region now, a Kumasi Circuit Court has granted bail to 2 siblings who were seen brandishing pump-action gun and pistols in a viral social media video. The accused persons, Emmanuel Dakura, also known as Obuo, and Richard Suleiman, were slapped with 3 charges. They include conspiracy to publish false news, publication of false news with the intent to cause fear and alarm, and carrying offensive weapons contrary to the Criminal Offences Act 1960 Act 29. Ohiming Teria monitored development and filed this report.
The 2 siblings appeared before the Kumasi Circuit Court, presided by His Honor Ebenezer Kwaku Ansa, over 3 counts of conspiracy to publish false news, publication of false news with intent to cause alarm, and possession of offensive weapons. The prosecution was led by Chief Superintendent Kofi Blagoji, who pleaded with the court to remand the accused persons at least for 2 weeks, to enable police continue with their investigations to establish the source of the weapon and the whereabouts of the weapons displayed in the viral social media video. The counsel for the accused persons, Charles Owusu-Ansah, pleaded with the court to grant the accused persons bail because, according to him, they are citizens who are law-abiding and reported themselves to police even when the video came into the public domain. But Prosecutor Chief Superintendent Kofi Blagoji objected to the bail application and argued the granting of bail to the accused persons could interfere with police investigations. The presiding judge, His Honor Ebenezer Ansah, after listening to the arguments from both the prosecutor and counsel for the accused persons, granted them bail on the grounds that they have already spent more than 48 hours in police custody and the accused persons might not even interfere with police investigations. The judge granted them 50,000 Ghana cedis bail with 2 sureties to be justified, and also asked the accused persons to report themselves in every 3 days to police. From Kumasi, for JoyNews, I'm Interior reporting.
And here in Accra from our studios in Kukumlimli, I am Bernice Abubeidulansa, and this is News Desk. To stay with us, we've got business news for you right after these messages.
Hi, good morning everyone. Time for some business news. My name is Darryl Kwao. President of the Chamber of Commerce and Industries, Clement Osei-Amarko, says the business community is ready to support government's economic revitalization program. He spoke to Joy Business after the Chamber's CEO Business Forum to discuss business resilience and sustainability.
Identify their problem is to hold their hands and support them to get out of that. Some too have managerial deficiency, also being the reason for their business not doing well. So we are also building their capacity alongside, also to prepare them. By this time, whatever the discussion that we have here today, because we brought people all over across the various sectors, those that make policies in the various fiscal and monetary. We saw a representative from the Honorable Minister, the Moti, and the Bank of Ghana also coming on board. And some practitioners who are actual practitioners in those sectors. And so they feel it and have the solution to the problem. So what we are doing is that we will handhold them and support them. Whatever decision that we take here today, we are going to put them down and look at the ministries that are supposed to be contacted to resolve them. We are not going to leave them idle. And so that businesses can rebound back as a result of the COVID effect.
Are you satisfied with the responses provided by the Ministry of Trade with regards to the COVID response, COVID economic response and all that as an industry? Yes,
the Ministry of Trade also mentioned the support that they gave when we had the COVID. But what I saw is that most of them were consumption-based, the utility services, food, etc., just to keep us surviving. I think that should be the first motive. With the support for the private sector and for that matter the SMEs were not enough. Monies, though we are aware, we had some monies that were distributed by some state organization to support some industry. They were woefully inadequate. What people were asking for, they couldn't get it. And so it means that if you don't get the right amount to move up your business, there's a possibility that you might even consume the money. So we are looking at it in a situation where in future, or going forward from now, after we have had our meeting and we have identified some of the weaknesses, then we'll go upon it and make sure that governments look at it again and see how they can give them some stimulus package to survive, as done by the bigger economies. When you go to the US and other states, other big nations, I think that they have done some expansionary monetary policy by giving some money out to support industries to grow. Because we know when industries are well placed and they are doing well, the government will benefit even more than the captains of industry. The reason being that they will create jobs, government will take tax and take even profit tax. And so doing this is in support of the nation, and I think that we would have to look at it going forward.
Well, meanwhile, Head of Markets and Advisory at KPMG Ghana, Andy Akoto, has advised businesses to take advantage of the various regulatory easing policies by government to propel growth. According to him, local businesses can also benefit from the many tax holidays and other incentives provided by government.
The trends point to businesses repositioning to look at, more importantly, how they are able to manage their costs and, of course, maximize their profits. Costs minimization, obviously, because you need to find creative and innovative ways of being more efficient, because the route to market would have kind of changed. And therefore, you find a lot of businesses redefining their route to market supply chain models to be able to reach their market in a more efficient way to maximize efficiency. Then we are also talking about the fact that they also need to be able to watch out for some of the policy initiative and reliefs that is being provided by government and other regulatory agencies and bodies to be able to take advantage of them. So, for example, we talked about, for example, right now, if you employ fresh graduates, of course, the incentives that come with that. I mean, hitherto that probably wouldn't have been the case, but of course, we are in a situation where the employment challenge is very, very real, because of the depression in world markets all over. So there is a need to be very attentive, look at the trends, identify new customer segments, and then also be more focused on products and services that are responsive to the prevailing market needs to be able to succeed.
All right, and so these are the other stories that are trending this morning. Of course, the response to Fitch's downgrade of Ghana from stable to negative. We've got Professor Osei Sibe saying that there's no cause for alarm, saying that the assessment was harsh and not fair. Also, Mine Workers Union demanding parliamentary probe into operationalization of Minerals Development Fund. You can read more about that and other stories on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Daryl Kwao. Sports is up next.
Today, and that's how we end this edition. Really appreciate your company this morning. Do log on to myjoyonline.com for more news. Interactive, do stay and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We are JoyNews on TV. I'm Bernice Abubedu Lansa. Enjoy the rest of your day.